Afternoon, peeps. Good afternoon, everyone. What's good in the hood? How are we all doing? Hopefully you're all doing very, very well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget as well to like and share the videos. Day off work today, so I thought, you know what? Let's get to the studio. We've got a couple of vids to do. We need to talk about Lawrence Okoli. We certainly need to talk about Josh Taylor, who fights Jack Catterall this weekend in Scotland. A lot of people have said, look, it's a bit disrespectful. Josh is not getting his full push. The promotion's been a bit weak. Look, boxing doesn't work like this, does it? We know how it works. It isn't a case of you're the best boxer, so you're going to get the biggest promotion. It's almost a case of how famous you are, really. I know it's quite sad, but that's how it is in boxing. This isn't new, so don't act like you're shocked that Josh isn't getting the full Amir Khan, Kell Brook treatment. It was never going to be like that anyway, regardless of how big Josh is, because Amir Khan, Kell Brook is Amir Khan, Kell Brook. That's a fight that's been brewing for 10 years. Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall isn't that, unfortunately. Look, I think Josh, you know when people say that Josh isn't getting the respect he deserves, he isn't getting the respect from sport fans. So guys that kind of dip their toes in and out of boxing. I think hardcore boxing fans or even casual boxing fans love and respect Josh Taylor. I mean, we're not silly, we're not blind. We can see what Josh Taylor's been doing for the last sort of 4 or 5 years. We look at his record, the amount of unbeaten fighters he's had, the fact he's undisputed in the division, the fact that he is, for me, a top 5, top 6 pound for pound. I think Ring have him as number 5 in their rankings. People are not blind to that. We can see it. But unfortunately, what I've just said, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be the biggest superstar in boxing. It doesn't. And Josh maybe needs that, I was going to say that breakout fight, but I thought Prograis was that, but Prograis wasn't a big name either. Prograis came with a lot of chat. It was good. You had an American that, talks a bit of trash and that helped sell the fight. He's a world champion. He was unbeaten in his own right, but I don't know if that was the fight, which is why I remember I was on Boxing Social's podcast with Rob Tebbit. This was a few months back, and I think I chucked out Adrian Broner as a potential opponent. And look, in hindsight, it was probably a stupid chuck out. But I said Adrian Broner just because Broner brings that name value. In terms of skills, he's clearly deteriorated, but in terms of a name value, he brings that. And I thought Broner would have been the perfect opponent for Josh about a year ago, maybe. Not now. Again, silly chuck out, but not now. But a year ago, it would have been the perfect opponent just to raise Josh's profile a bit. So you don't necessarily need to fight the best. You must just need to fight someone that has a massive profile. You beat them, you embarrass them, and Josh would have done that to Adrian Broner. Your profile grows as well. And Josh hasn't quite got that. But again, don't let that take away from Josh isn't getting the respect he deserves. Josh is getting the respect by the most important people, and that's the boxing fans. It will come with regards to the wider public. I think it will come when he jumps to 147 because there are names up there in 147. Right now, in the 140-pound division, unfortunately, there aren't that many names. You look at the people Josh has beaten. And again, if I were to, and I always kind of measure it by speaking to my friends that are sport fans, mainly football fans, but know boxing a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, right? And if I ask them who Josh Taylor is, they won't know. So they certainly aren't going to know who Ramirez is. They certainly aren't going to know who Victor Postal, Barancic, Prograis. They're not going to know these names. And they certainly, 110%, are not going to know who Jack Catterall is. So I guess that's the issue with Josh. But look, Josh has got business to handle on Saturday. He will handle it. This really does look like a deer in the headlight situation for Jack. Like all that the media and press they've done. Look, and this could be just Jack's personality, by the way. Not everyone is boisterous and loud. Some people just get it done when it's fight night. But Jack does look a bit like this is the tough task, and it is a tough task. Not only are you fighting a guy that I've said is the top 5, top 6 pound for pound, you're fighting clearly the best fighter in Britain. You're fighting a guy in his backyard, and you're fighting a guy that is super confident right now. I don't think, maybe in the lead up to the Ramirez fight, he was confident there, but this is as confident as I've seen Josh Taylor. It's almost like he looks at Jack Catterall when especially doing the gloves are off, and it's almost like he was thinking of himself. I'm going to use a football analogy here, but he was thinking of himself as a Premier League footballer, and Jack Catterall's League One. It was like, not only, Jack, have you not fought anyone at my level, you're not even sparring world level guys. And he's like, I know. So So that was almost like I'm going to get under your skin and play a bit of a mind game here. I know what you're doing in your fight camp. And it's going to be tough for Jack. It is. Look, Jack's done well to get himself in a mandatory position. Remember, Jack allowed, and he allowed Josh Taylor to fight Ramirez. It was supposed to be Jack getting his opportunity before Ramirez, but he said, okay, look, I'll happily step aside for this one and allow you to fight Ramirez, but give me my opportunity, and credit to Josh for doing that. Josh could have vacated, Josh could have gone up. It's like, no, I'll give you your opportunity, and Jack gets it. Look, Jack's an unbeaten fighter, and unbeaten fighters are just that, unbeaten. They haven't tasted defeat, and mentally, they're going to walk into the ring, and Jack will walk in. Look, he's going to get booed. I don't know how that'll phase him, because again, he looks like someone for me that maybe mentally isn't as strong as other fighters I've seen, but we'll see when he gets in the ring. I mean, the problem for him, not the big problem for him, is Josh is better at every single thing than Jack. And that's not disrespecting Jack. That's just Josh is a 9 out of 10 in most things he does. Fighting on the back foot, jab, power looks like it's getting there. I mean, that uppercut that put Ramirez down when he was on the back foot, fighting on the back foot, that's something I've never really favoured Josh out of. Like, Josh as a back foot fighter is not the best. Now he fights on the back foot. We know he likes to rough him up inside. He can do everything that Jack can do better than Jack. He can. Some people said, okay, look, but Ade, what about the upsets last year that we saw? We saw some huge upsets in boxing. Kambosos, Teofimo Lopez. That one, and it was a big upset at the time, but how confident was Kambosos? Now, when I talk about Jack Catterall being a bit reserved, a bit shy, Kambosos almost walked into that ring, and we almost thought, okay, this was just a bit of bravado. He was super confident, like super confident. This is a guy that's fought abroad before and got wins as well, so he was super confident. And in the end, that confidence shone through on the night. Jack doesn't have that. But then, you look at Lara versus Warrington at the start of the year. You look at Mikey Garcia versus Sandor Martin. You look at Kiko Martinez versus Kid Galahad. We have seen big upsets. Baumgardner, Terry Harper was somewhat of an upset as well. So we've seen them. This just won't be it. This won't be it on Saturday night, because the Tartan Tornado is a very, very special fighter. I was speaking to Tony Bellew during our DAZN boxing show, and he said he's the best Scottish fighter there is. And I said, well, but what Ken Buchanan? And he's like, what Josh Taylor's done in 17 fights is it's 17 fights, and this guy's become undisputed. And you look at his opponents. I saw this thing going around about his opponents being 150-0, and I think it was kind of incorrect. What they did, they obviously removed the Victor Postal fight and put Jack Catterall there, because Victor Postal's got a loss. But even if you remove Jack Catterall and you look at his last 5 opponents, or I think it's 6 opponents, I think it's 136-1. 136-1. Now, some people might say, yeah, but Baranchyk maybe wasn't that good. I'm telling you guys now, unbeaten fighters' mindset is different. So Baranchyk might not have been the elite world level, but he's unbeaten. He's unbeaten, and I think he had the IBF title. I might be wrong. I think he had the IBF title, didn't he? He's an unbeaten world champion. And Josh is getting rid of these guys, beating these guys, bashing them up. I thought Victor Postal was a bit of a tough fight, but he's going through his resume. Again, what it is? I hope boxing's kind to Josh when he's all said and done, because his resume, in terms of names on there, people might look back and say, yeah, well, but Victor Postal got beat by Crawford. He wasn't that good. And, Baranchyk, we've seen him against Zepeda. And people might do that. Don't do that. Do it at the time Josh is fighting them. And at the time Josh is fighting them, it's been incredible. To go to Ramirez, his backyard, or America, and do what he did to Ramirez, who had just come off that really good win against Morris Hooker, where he bashed up Hooker. And everyone thought, oh, this is a tough ask for Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor's like, tough ask? I'll show you. I love Josh. I really do. And what I've seen, and it might be with age, it might be with a case of I'm now super confident. You go back and watch the Josh Taylor, O'Hara Davis build-up when Josh was with Cyclone Promotions. Josh was quiet, very quiet, and O'Hara Davis was the one that was, told to sell the fight because we need, we need tickets, we need views. I think it was on Channel 5 at the time. Completely quiet, Josh. Now look at him. He growls. He almost was like when he told Jack Catterall, I was injured. And Jack Catterall went on again, and he's like, I was injured, you clown. And he had those eyes where he just stared at Jack like, go on, I'll take you now. He's an incredible person. I honestly, one of my favourite fighters, Josh. He really is. I think he's fantastic. He really is fantastic. And I was thinking, as much as maybe he hasn't fought a kind of a star, if you like, to really boost his own profile, it doesn't help that he is promoted by Top Rank and Bob Arum. Like, Bob Arum's not going to really sell him, is he? I mean, Bob would have 30 years ago or 20 years ago. Bob now, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be, if he had a young, hungry promoter, you know, it doesn't have to be Eddie. It could be an Oscar De La Hoya. They would be fucking putting him out there everywhere. But look, forget all that for a second. It's just great to see Josh Taylor fight. I'm excited. Obviously, he was injured. This fight was supposed to happen sort of the back end of last year. It's happening now. And it is the start of, well, it's not even the start. It's that good run that we're getting right now in boxing. With Sky put on a couple of really good shows. Chris Eubank Jr., Liam Williams, Kell Brook, Amir Khan, and now this. There'll be a little pause, I think, for March. Obviously, Savannah Marshall's just been announced, but in terms of big events, and I think they'll come big again in April. But it's really good, man. It really goes. And look, as much as maybe he doesn't get his plaudits and he doesn't get the promotion, fuck all that. Us boxing fans know how good Josh Taylor is, and I think we'll see it on Saturday night. I'm not completely discounting Jack Catterall. Big ask. But this would be a huge upset. For me, this would be way bigger than Kambosos Teofimo Lopez, bigger than Lara Warrington. This would be as big as it gets, and that's why it won't happen. I mean, you're going to get upsets in boxing. You get some big ones, but not to this level. So, look, good luck, Jack Catterall. Good luck, Josh Taylor. I will be watching it, no doubt. I was thinking about a live watch-along, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure. We'll decide. Obviously, I'm working Lawrence Okoli fight on Sunday, so normally I like to revise the day before and really get drilled down. But if not, we might do it, you know. Why not? Even if it doesn't get good numbers, doesn't matter. Let's have fun. So, you know, I'll put it on the community tab in today or tomorrow, whether or not we're doing it. And even if it's only a couple of hundred that are watching it with me, so what? Should be a good one. Peace. You know what we haven't done? Let me have a look very quickly. Sorry. Oh, fuck it. I was going to look at the undercard, but we'll do it later. Peace, guys.